Heritage has 3 different types of launches: regular launches, wall bounces, and off-screen launches. If you saw my last video on the infinite prevention system, you may remember that most attacks, with a few exceptions, have a set of 48 different attack properties the game reads from when a move makes contact with the opponent, on hit or on block. The 6th property determines if a move will launch and what type of launch it will be. First is the regular launch, which has either a value of 0x1d or 0x1f. Having 2 possible values would indicate that the 2 are different, but despite my best attempts I haven't found any differences, so for the sake of this video I'll just consider them the same. Functionally, the standard launch is fairly self-explanatory. The opponent is sent into the air for a given amount of time before they're able to tech, assuming the move is techable, and in one of 4 directions based on user input: forwards, backwards, upwards, or neutral, and downwards. The horizontal distance and height of the launch are determined by the 7th and 8th hit properties respectively. These values function sort of like levels or stages, in that they correspond to a list of preset x and y velocities. I touched on this briefly in the previous video, but made a few errors when it came to launch height. As opposed to the original 8 launch stages I had mentioned, there are actually 10 different stages when it comes to launch height, ranging from 0 to 9. The stage 0 is reserved exclusively for off-screen launches, which we'll get to later. As for horizontal distance, there's a whopping 32 stages involved there, ranging from 0 to 31. Unlike the horizontal distance a move will launch the opponent, the height traveled isn't always constant and is affected by launch scaling. Starting from the 3rd hit of a combo, the launch stage will decrease with each following hit until it reaches stage 1, as opposed to stage 0 as I mentioned in the previous video, where it will remain for the rest of the combo. Stage 1 doesn't launch the opponent at all, making it akin to a hard knockdown. Not all moves are affected by launch scaling, however, as this would prevent some from behaving correctly. The unit RAM address plus 0x236 stores whether or not a move is affected by launch scaling, which pulls from the 31st attack property. Launch scaling will be ignored if the property has a value of 1. Similarly to launch scaling, when the opponent can tech the move isn't always constant, as it also depends on the launch height of the move. Each stage barring stage 0 has a gravity value that decreases the current y velocity with each frame. Once that y velocity falls below 0x10,000, the opponent is able to tech. Essentially, the lower the launch stage, the sooner they can tech the move. Though that's only if the move is techable. To check, the game reads from the opponent's unit RAM address plus 0x237. The opponent cannot tech when the address has a value of 1, and can if the value is 0. This address pulls from the 28th attack property, but is also affected when the opponent techs, setting the value to 1 until the next attack overwrites this value. One notable exception to this is Rubber Soul's Coconut Backbreaker, which does not use those attack properties and does not overwrite the address. As a result, whether or not the move is untechable or techable and punishable varies with the state of the RAM address. Next we have wall bounces, which have a value of 0x20 in the attack properties. Wall bounces can only be teched once the opponent makes contact with a wall, as doing so changes the opponent's unit RAM address plus 0xe7 to 5. Any values below that will be sent to routines that don't check for air teching and thus don't allow for it. Though once collision with the wall has occurred, the y velocity must also be below 0x10,000 before they can tech. The final type of launch is the off-screen launch, which has a value of 0x27 in the attack properties, and true to its name, sends the opponent off-screen, so long as they are far enough away from a corner to do so. Off-screen launches are untechable, and are unique for using stage 0 when it comes to launch height. What sets stage 0 apart from stage 1, since neither launches the opponent, is that stage 0 also assigns them a gravity value of 0. This prevents the opponent from hitting the ground until they collide with a wall, from which they will go into a knockdown. The only other notable trait of off-screen launches I can think of is that, like the other 2, it's also affected by launch scaling. However, instead of remaining at stage 0, launch scaling will actually cause it to jump up to stage 1 from the 3rd hit of a combo onwards, preventing the off-screen launch and instead resulting in a hard knockdown. In any case, I hope this helps provide some insight into how launching and teching work under the hood. This was a suggestion given to me on Twitter, so if you do have anything you'd like me to cover, let me know. I may get around to doing it one day, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. I'm very lazy.